for joining us today. And we will start our program in just 1 minute. I'll just wait for one more minute for new members to join us. And we will start our program for today. But thank you very much for taking the time to join this evening. And we will be here to answer all your questions. So I'll wait for one more minute and start the session. Okay, well, let's start. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. We're thrilled to have you with us tonight. And we're also very thrilled for the prospect of you joining us. So I want to begin by saying congratulations to all of you. Thank you for applying to our program and sharing your creativity and vision with us. And congratulations in being part of the admitted student group. What an achievement. We had, again, such a large number of applicants, and we were blown away by the creativity and thoughtfulness of all your approaches. So you are joined by today also those who are celebrating with you being admitted to the program. And again, thank you for taking the time today. We are remote today, this particular session, but I just want to give you a sense of where you will be next year. So this is the communications building where normally our offices and classes are located at, and we look forward to welcoming you there next year. If not before, you will be also invited to a variety of different events throughout the year as you prepare for joining us next year. I also want to remind you that we will have other events coming up that you can join us for in the coming days. If you are in Seattle area, you've already been invited to join our in-person happy hour on Friday. We also have a First Friday on Friday you can join, as well as my class. By the way, before I get to that, I just want to say I'm Ekin Yashin. I'm the director of the program. And in that capacity, I not only get to meet you through your applications, but I also teach some of the foundational courses of our program and get to work with all of you throughout the year, which is one of my most amazing times and joys in life. And I am currently teaching one of the foundational courses, Narratives and Networks. And you also have the option to join that remotely tomorrow if you choose to. So imagine today as one of many events of welcoming you and giving you a sense of our program. I'm joined today by multiple colleagues, and I will ask them to introduce themselves too at the end of our very quick introduction. But amidst us are both staff and current students of the program who are here today to give you as much information as possible and to answer your questions. In this program, it's again geared towards answering your questions. So I will just say a few words about why it's important to join our program right now. Why us, why now? And then I'll turn it over to my colleague Heather to give you a little bit sense of the community you're joined by today, our demographics and information about our admitted students. And then we'll follow by your questions. So throughout it all, please start preparing your questions to share with us. But now that we stopped sharing, I just want to wave and say hello. Hello, everyone. And again, welcome. And thank you for being with us again. So just very quickly in 1 minute, I just want to share with you why you're joining us at a pivotal time. First and foremost, as you've been, I know I've seen many of you in previous meetings, and I remember many of you from your applications. I just want to assure you that you are joining us at a pivotal time. As you know, around the world, around the globe, all higher education programs have been navigating multiple novelties. I'm very proud of our program for navigating this moment so successfully for the past 2 years. Even though we had to pivot to online learning experiences for the past 2 years, we've done that very successfully, and not by reducing programming, but by increasing programming. We've launched a number of initiatives even during this challenging time. To also share with you the happy news that we're mostly back to in-person learning right now. Students who are joining us today are finally on campus taking classes with us. So by the time you join us, we will be able to return to a kind of a new normal, building on experiences of our lives before the pandemic and lessons and affordances learned during that time as well. During the pandemic, I shared with you that we've actually launched a number of exciting initiatives despite the multiple difficulties of that time. We launched a new peer-to-peer and alumni mentorship program, which we'll continue to do even when we are in person. We also launched a consultancy initiative. Actually, this was an initiative launched by our students where we helped serve organizations in need of communication and leadership services, particularly at the time impacted by the pandemic. Our students served student volunteers and students who work for our program through our on campus and also in the program consultancy served over 150 organizations last year during the pandemic. That initiative is continuing and continuing to make impact even after the pandemic, or even at this stage of the pandemic, to be correct. So this just gives you a sense of the types of innovation we try to do. We try to understand the moment and respond to it collectively. So I really believe that our program is in a very unique position and is in a very thoughtful position to respond to the challenges of our time. We are a vibrant and connected global learning community. And that's one of the reasons why I want to share with you why you should think of us at this moment. We are joined by multiple members of our community who are from different parts of the world. Over 50% of our students are from different countries. Over 20 countries actually are represented in our program. So one of the reasons that I find our program thrilling is the vibrance of that community. We not only learn from the content of our classes, but we learn from the community that we build. And one of the unique aspects of our program is building relationships and sustaining them and having authentic bonds amidst staff and students, students and students, and students and alumni is a core commitment of our program. So you will be joining that vibrant community next year. You're also joining us at a particularly exciting time. During my entire time at this program, I've never seen a year where more need in communication, leadership, and design services have been at the minds of organizations. Current students can speak to the growing opportunities across organizations. We used to collaborate with organizations. Now organizations are coming to us all the time, seeking the expertise and the thoughtful approach of our students. After the pandemic, it will be an era of rethinking communication, but the pandemic really showed to many organizations that communication and leadership is at the core part of all their operations. So we are also joining you at a time where organizations are making new commitments to proliferating their communication and leadership operations. Last but not least, again, I'm not doing justice to the broad and rich experience that you will find around our program. But the last aspect that I want to highlight, why us, why now, is our commitment to values. It's in our DNA. We are a values-driven program, and we will help you when you join us to articulate and realize your values by way of your classes, by way of your opportunities of applied learning, and by way of your current and future jobs as well. We will have multiple conversations, but we operate, think, and decide with our values in this program. So we are, again, very excited to welcome a value-driven community that is all of you. So I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Heather Werkle, who you've heard from a number of times already. Please, but before I turn it over, I just want to encourage you all. I'll be back after Heather's portion to give you some ideas about what comes next, but please use the chat to start submitting your questions. This is really an active time for us to clarify everything for you, to answer any questions you may have about the program. So feel free to submit them anytime starting now in the chat, and we will have a portion for it after this program. You'll also have a chance to break out with students and ask them about their experiences in smaller groups where staff will not be present, so you can have also a more candid discussion about student experience as well. So Heather, I'm turning it over to you. I think you're going to talk a little bit about who's here today.
Great, thank you, Akin. I'll wait for Marina to get the slide back up so you can all see who's a part of the cohort as well. As Ken mentioned, I'm Heather Werkle. I'm the Assistant Director of Academic Services, and you've probably already received several emails from me. So I am the point of contact for students for any of their questions about admissions or academics in the program. So you'll be hearing from me more in the coming months. But I wanted to talk about, who is cohort 22? Who are your classmates going to be? Who's joining us? And this is based on offers of admission, because obviously you still have until April 15th, if you've been offered admission to tell us. So we haven't heard from everyone yet. But for students we've admitted, we have international students from 21 countries, and some countries that we've never had before. So we're very excited about that. And you can see those listed here. I'm not going to read all of them off. We have so many. And then we also have domestic students in the US from 12 different states, spanning the entire country. So we have people all the way from South Carolina to Washington and Hawaii, everywhere in between. Our domestic students are 61% Black, Indigenous, and people of color. So we have a very diverse cohort that's coming in this year. And then we have 16 returning Huskies. We're very excited that folks chose to stay at UW, come back and get their degree with us as well. Just a little glimpse into some of the fields. We have 38 different undergraduate majors represented, and I put just a sampling of those up on this slide so you can see that we have students from a broad variety of backgrounds. We don't have any requirement that you have even taken a communication class to join our program, and you can see that represented with some of the majors here, because we're interested in seeing what are you wanting to do next? How is this degree going to help you do that, rather than what you've already studied in the past? So it's very exciting to see some of these different perspectives that are going to come into the classroom from these backgrounds. And then in terms of experience of students in the program, we have about 9% of students completed their bachelor's degree over 10 years ago. So our kind of, mid-career or even established professionals who are coming back to the program to learn new things. About 27%, so a little over a quarter of our students coming in graduated 4 to 9 years ago. So in that solidly mid-career range there. And then about 2/3 of the students coming into our program graduated within the past 3 years. So a lot of pandemic graduates. So that includes 2020, 21, and 22 graduates who are coming into the program to launch their careers in communication. And then excitingly, this year, 10%, and so a good portion of our cohort already have either a master's or a doctoral degree. So have already done graduate school and are coming back to pivot their career or do something new with CommLead. So that's very exciting as well. So now that you've got a glimpse of who is in the program, a question a lot of you have is what comes next? So what do you do after you've accepted your offer to get prepared to enter the program? So the next steps that you'll be going through, first you have to decide. So you have to tell us, are you coming? Are you going to be part of cohort 22? And you have to indicate that decision on your application status page by April 15th. So one thing to note is that before you can accept, you'll first need to create your UW Net ID. And on your status page, when you log back in, there's a box beneath the decisions. So it has I accept, I decline. Beneath those buttons, there's a box with information on how to set up your UW Net ID, which is your login for all UW systems. So that it's also your email. So keep that in mind when you're creating it. Everyone who emails you from UW is going to use that address. So probably want to keep something that indicates who you are very clearly in your Net ID. So you'll set that up. You accept the offer, we hope. And then you'll have steps to enrollment that pop up on your application status page. So that includes submitting your official transcript and to verify your degree. If you're currently graduating this spring, make sure you wait until after your degree posts to submit that. Submitting your documentation for UW's immunization requirements. So both the COVID-19 vaccine requirement and the measles, mumps, rubella vaccine, there's information on that on the status page. And then for our international students, you'll be completing your I-20 application. And you'll receive an emailed invitation if you're attending on an F1 visa to set up your profile on My ISSS, which is the portal that is used for all the immigration processes, including getting your I-20, CPT, and all those things you'll have to do during the program. Just a note, if you are using a degree to meet the English proficiency requirement, make sure you get that transcript sent soon, because that will have to be verified by Graduate Enrollment Management Services before you can register so that you don't have to also add on English classes along with your CommLead classes. So make sure to do that soon. Plenty of time because registration will open for you on June 21st. I'll be holding some pre-registration advising sessions in early June. So watch for that. Usually the first week of June, I'll send out those dates and you can sign up to attend one of those. And then you'll actually start registering for classes June 21st. Registration opens as soon as the calendar day switches over Seattle time. So it's at 12 a.m. Pacific time that you'll be able to start signing up for classes. And then we have new student orientation in late September. Date still TBD for that. We'll be sending you more information over the summer. And many people have been asking this. Autumn classes start on September 28th. So that will be the first day of classes for your first quarter. So that's just a brief overview of what comes next. And a lot of you are eager to get connected to CommLead. So we wanted to give you a little bit of information on how you can connect now. And some great examples Liao already put in the chat. We have our April 2nd Friday with Iterable this Friday. And then the in-person happy hour, if you're in the Seattle area at Ravenna Brewing, we would love to see you there. So those are 2 ways to connect this week. I'd say definitely, if you're not already, follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn. We post a lot of opportunities there. And then we're going to have lots of other chances for you to connect with the program from June throughout the summer so that you can learn more about CommLead, meet your cohort, and meet current students and faculty in the program as well. So we will send those opportunities out. And for now, let's get you connected with some current students here. So I'll turn it back to Ken to introduce our student panelists.
Yes, so we are all here for you to answer your questions. And again, I want to encourage you all to share your questions in the chat. As you're thinking about what questions are still lingering on your mind, we will direct them to students or staff. I want to first introduce our students. So I'll ask you all to go one by one and I'll say your name so you can just introduce yourself briefly, where you're from, what you're doing, your cohort and your degree. And then after that, I'll also briefly introduce our staff other than Heather and myself who are also here today, who are also going to help answer your questions. And this is our, again, first chance to welcome you and meet with you today. So let's start maybe with Simriti. Simriti, can you introduce yourself?
Hi everyone, my name is Smridhi. I'm in MCDM track cohort 21. I started CommLead last year in fall 21 and I'm from India. I have interest in content writing, so that's been my forte and I've been lucky to work with the department as a content strategist. So we try to give you all the information so that it's in one place and you can always contact me if you need any help or just know me better. Thank you.
Thank you, Simriti. Cassie?
Hi, everyone. I'm Cassie Mcknight. I'm also cohort 21. I use she, her pronouns. I'm from the States, and I am currently the creative director for the CommLead consultancy that Ken mentioned earlier. So happy to answer some questions about that, what that means, all of the above. And welcome.
Thank you. Lexi?
Hi, everyone. My name is Lexi. I'm in the MCDM track. I'm also an international student from China. And this is my 5th quarter at CommLead. And through this program, I'm trying to pivot from marketing to UX research. And I have been benefiting so much from CommLead classes and also the community. And I'm also running CommLead's WeChat account. So happy to answer any question about, international student experience classes, career pivoting, etc.
Thank you. Marina?
Hi, everyone. I'm Marina. I'm originally from Germany and now live in Seattle. I'm part of cohort 20, so this is also my 5th quarter in the program. Probably more than that, really. It's my 2nd year. I'm part of the MCCN track, and I also work for CommLead as the outreach and event coordinator. So if you've joined other pre-admission events, you've probably seen my face before. I know some of you have emailed me, so feel free to ask me anything student experience related or MCCN related. And also feel free to reach out after the event if anything doesn't get answered or you come up with questions afterwards.
Thank you, Marina. And again, yes, we encourage you all, please share your questions and we'll direct them to the right people. But as Heather mentioned, please share it with everyone so we can see it all. Pratesh.
Hey everyone, I'm Pratesh. I'm from Bombay, India. My pronouns are he, him. I'm in the MCDM track. I am also cohort 21 and I work with the CommLead consultancy. So Cassie and I work together regularly. So if you have any questions regarding that or really regarding life as an international student and like, the CommLead community, you can ask them to me. You can reach out to me on LinkedIn and things like that. I'm happy to talk to you all.
Thank you, Pratesh. I think I've introduced everyone right now. So you're seeing that we have many students and you'll get to be in small groups with them so you can have more kind of more conversations in the last 20 minutes or so of the program. We're also joined by two more staff. Gretchen, could you introduce yourself?
Sure, absolutely. Welcome, everyone. Sorry, there's a strange noise behind me. It's my son. He's practicing trombone, so it's not your computer. I'm the associate director. I've been in this role for a little bit over a year. So I joined CommLead right in the middle of the pandemic. And as Akin mentioned, we are now transitioning to more in-person, kind of finding where the new normal is, the types of modalities we're offering our courses. I have the great privilege to work very closely with our faculty who are amazing. Primarily, our faculty are working professionals. They are in senior positions or higher in their field across sectors. They work at University of Washington and they teach at CommLead in particular because they love our students. They love our program and they want to impart their cutting edge knowledge to all of you. So I work with them to help create the best experience possible for our students. And it's the joy that I get to do every day. So thank you and welcome everyone. It's really fun to see everyone. I also assisted on admissions, so it's really fun. So welcome.
Full circle. And last but not least, one more key staff member is with us. Jazz, could you do a quick introduction?
Yeah, sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Jazz Espiritu. I use he and him pronouns. I am head of program affairs at CommLead. And a lot of my work, it revolves around kind of the behind the scenes operational stuff that's happening with the staff and the team, as well as work with some of the faculty as well. And I'm also overseeing the community engagement initiatives that we have throughout the year. So you saw earlier in the slide a couple of events that you all are invited to this in the next coming weeks. There are still a bunch of other events that actually current and active students get to attend to. Specifically, one that's next week, I believe, is the Woodland Park Zoo. And in a couple of weeks, we are taking a handful of students to the Mariners game for college night, which is pretty exciting. Just to give you a bit of a round off on some of the community engagement that we are doing within CommLead this quarter at least. So thank you.
Thank you, Jazz. So now I'll turn it over to Marina to read your questions, and then I'll direct you to different people so that we hear from them. And we'll do this portion for about 20 minutes or so, and then you'll also have for unanswered questions to be able to break out into groups with students who are joining us today, as well as if you want to, you can also ask us questions. We'll remain in the main room. So Marina, please.
I'll just start reading the questions chronologically so you can keep them coming. Also, I'll try my best to pronounce everyone's name correctly, but feel free to correct me if I go wrong. So the first question is coming from Xiang. I already submitted my I-20 request and I'm wondering how to check the status.
I'm turning this question over to Heather.
Yes, and I see there was a question before that, so I want to make sure that one doesn't get missed after Xiang's. So UW has just moved to a new system called My ISSS for all of the immigration services, and I haven't actually seen what it looks like for students because it is a brand new system that just launched last month. So I can't direct you like I used to be able to on click here, go here. It'll look like this with a screenshot. But in My ISSS, where you upload that I-20 documentation in the application, that's where you'll also track the status of that. So it's all within that portal. So like, I don't know what it looks like, but that's the place where you will track that.
Thank you, Heather.
Oh yeah, and thanks for reminding me of this question that was hidden up there. Do we have a defer option this year?
Heather, do you want to quickly touch upon that?
Yes, so we're happy to offer deferrals for any students who need to wait a year to start the program. You can only defer for 1 full year. So to autumn 2023, so you would choose to join cohort 23 instead of cohort 22. And that it's easiest before you've accepted the offer, but you can also defer after you've accepted the offer if life circumstances change and you need to do that. So we allow students to do that through early September. So if you're not sure, I recommend waiting, because once we've submitted that deferral, you can't change it. You can't change your mind. It's final. So you can't then decide to start this fall. So if you're absolutely sure, we can go ahead and process that now. But if you're not, you can feel free to wait and do that over the summer if something comes up where you're going to need to change. But yes, and we don't have any requirement for documentation. Some students have contacted me with, trying to send medical information. You just have to ask. There's no vetting or requirement. We're happy to offer that to anyone who needs that.
Thank you.
Next, we have a question about scholarship opportunities for international students.
And we have a number of questions about that. Maybe we can start by Heather, you giving a quick overview, and then I want to turn it over to maybe Simriti to talk a little bit about, or Pritesh, or really Marina, about the working opportunities that are available on campus for international students.
Yeah, I want to share a link that's actually from a colleague from one of my professional organizations of advisors from Indiana University. They put together this list, and why reinvent the wheel when someone already has an awesome list like this of a ton of scholarship opportunities for international students. So I put that in the chat. Definitely check that out as a good resource that has pulled those together. On the CommLead website, our fees and finances page, which I'll also throw that into the chat as well. That has a couple of resources there. The Graduate Funding Information Service, which is a clearinghouse of different funding options for graduate students, and also offers one-on-one consultations. So I would say that is a good resource to try to find different options. And they have staff member there that will meet with you one-on-one to plan your funding search. And then also on that page, there's a link to the SHE Graduate Student Loan, which is a unique loan just for international students that was offered by a UW alum who created it because of the shortage of funding opportunities. And so that's something on there as well. So I would say definitely check out those two resources for different options.
Thank you, Heather. And maybe Simriti, very briefly, I know that you're an international student, but there are also working opportunities on campus and with CommLead as well. Can you briefly talk about that?
Yeah, so I see it as two ways. One is when you're a part-time student and working full-time, but another way is when you're a full-time student and working part-time with CommLead or any other opportunity at UW. I work with CommLead, but just to let you all know, we share new opportunities every week. And under CommLead Consultancy, which is headed by Alex Stonehill, and then Pritesh and Cassie are also working there. So you can let them know about what your interests are, and they'll help you find a great opportunity, or you can just read the list that we already have, and we'll help you to get in touch with the best project that we can find for you.
Thank you, Simriti. Simriti also curates our weekly jobs email, which has tons of opportunities, both on campus and off campus for our students as well as our alumni. Marina, I'm back to you. I know we have tons of questions, so I want to make sure that we cover as many of them as possible.
Yes, so a slightly different one is coming from Ellie, who's asking for any working professionals, tips on managing/balancing work and CommLead coursework.
Yes, so we can talk a little bit about this. I think we have a number of working professionals that have been in the program and that have juggled that responsibility. Some students who are working full-time will take a part-time load. So they'll take one class per quarter, and that's, if you're particularly in the area and working full-time, that's recommended. So they usually are trying to navigate their schedules around that. Having said that, our faculty knows that you may have job and you're juggling multiple responsibilities. So our faculty also works with all of you. But for those of you who are working full-time or intending to work full-time, as you come to the program, program. Please know that our classes and experiences are very much designed for that. That's why our classes are in the evenings and or on the weekends, so that say if you have a full-time job, you can do it after your work, or if you don't have a full-time job but then later on get a very rigorous internship or another opportunity when you're on campus, there again your classes will not stand in the way. Likewise, our events are very much designed around that too. Cassie, you were working full-time, I think, right, initially, or you were kind of navigating different opportunities. Could you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. I did start the program just full-time student, and now I have transitioned to part-time work and still doing full-time student, and then pretty soon hoping to go full-time and transition back to part-time school. So I don't have the experience of full-time work with part-time, but I will say that balancing it all is important. And it was last quarter, I think I pushed pretty hard to try and do a little bit more on the class load and have the part-time work. And I know that that was a stretch. It's possible, but it is a stretch. And so there is that recommendation that they're giving you is definitely, I would heed that recommendation and just really think about that for yourself. And also know that Seattle itself has a lot to offer outside of CommLead. Also, UW in general has a lot to offer. So there's a lot to experience, which is why I think the balance is recommended.
Thank you, Cassie. I'll turn it over to Marina.
Yes, I think we already talked about the hands-on experiences in communications. Do we have more to say about scholarship opportunities for domestic students? I think we touched on internationals mostly.
The tuition the page that Heather shared, the link to the tuition page has some of those resources. Do you want to add anything, Heather?
I was just going to say the same resource, the Graduate Funding Information Service that's on our tuition page is a great place to start for everybody.
Perfect. Then we can skip to the next one. Taylor is asking how it's been attending lectures in person, comfort level wise.
Oh, interesting. Pritesh, you were there last week in my class, and we were in a large lecture. And I know that you've taken for the past 2 quarters too classes that had in-person components. So do you want to speak a little bit about your experience?
Yeah, sure. So the classes are brilliant because there is this whole level of interactiveness, which makes it really organic. You're able to ask questions to the professor, and since most of them are working professionals in the industry, their knowledge is current and you will be able to brainstorm with them. And some of the professors are so amazing that, I mean, in one of my projects, like in the fall quarter, I had this like 8-hour lecture on Saturdays, and the professor was kind enough to like have extra 1-hour sessions with me throughout the week just because I was doing extra credit and, working on the project with me. It's not something which you often see. So the one thing which the one way I'd encapsulate this whole thing is the professors care. Like, they really care about you and your success, and that's just it. It just makes the whole thing brilliant. And the level of interactiveness, the back and forth, the whole energy going in the in-person classes, it's just brilliant.
Thank you, Pritesh. Lexi, have you taken any in-person classes? And if so, what was your experience like?
Yeah, I actually just took an in-person class last Saturday, and it was amazing. Because personally, for me, I started this program online. I've been wanting in-person experience so much, and that class, I can definitely tell that in-person experience provided us with more opportunities for discussion, in-depth communication, and also vibrant class activities. Because like the professor of that class actually asked the students to go outside the classroom and look for emerging technologies that are being used in the UW campus, because the class was about emerging technologies. So I think that was definitely like an mind-blowing experience. And also we do have a lot of other classes that offer different format of instruction, like hybrid or online. So I think, yeah, be sure to check out the classes page before you register and just try out and see whether you like it or not.
Thank you. Thank you so much both for sharing your experiences. Marina?
Okay, the next question is, do you recommend any necessary skills that we need to acquire this summer before autumn quarter?
I can quickly answer that. Everything you will need, we will provide you. Actually, your first class, 501, Leadership in Communities, which is your introduction to the course, is very much about building those competencies. And you will be doing that in collaboration with your peers. Although when you're kind of selecting your classes come June 21st, of course, if you feel like you have questions, you'll be meeting a lot with Heather and any one of us you want to talk to as well. So we can also direct you to kind of the content of the class if you have questions before and want to be prepared for a new subject matter. But both our orientation as well as your first foundational class is very much designed to give everyone a similar starting point so that we share kind of sensibilities, thoughts, and as well as some shared content so that all of you have an opportunity to think together and to be prepared together.
Wonderful. So next we have a question from Nick. What does a typical full-time schedule look like?
I know that many of you have taken full-time classes. So Marina, I know that you've done full-time quarters. So can you share with the students that are joining us what a full-time schedule looks like?
So full-time means you'll be taking 10 credits. This can be split up either by taking 2 5-credit classes, or probably 1 5-credit class and then 1 2 and 1 3-credit class. This is actually what your first quarter is going to be like, because you'll have to take the core class, which is, I believe, 3 credits or 2. Yeah, 2 credits. So you'll have to be taking 3 classes, which personally I always found a little more demanding to juggle, just because you will have like 3 different projects and like 3 different days of the week where you're attending classes, and like just 3 different things to keep track of. So I personally love to take 2 5-credit classes. The workload for those will be heavier, but you only have like 2 projects to juggle. It's really a personal preference, but either way, you'll get a variety of different things you learn in a quarter. And so it just comes down to what you enjoy most. Next question is, I would like to know if we can take classes from other departments. If yes, do we need to pay the credit fee?
Heather?
Yes, so you are allowed to take up to 5 credits of electives from any other UW graduate program, and that's your choice. Every program has their own rules as to whether they allow, other students to enroll or not. So you have to pay attention to that when enrolling. But we let you take 5 credits outside the program. When you register for that, you will pay the same tuition rate that you do for your CommLead classes. So it's per credit for however many credits that class is. It'll be the same as your CommLead tuition.
And UW has such exciting departments and classes. So we're part of that very exciting and thrilling community too. So this is one of the perks of being a part of one of the top global universities in the world. So Marina, and just as a reminder too, we'll go till about 45 past in this shared question and answer format. And we'll do our best to answer your questions. And then we'll divide you into, again, breakout groups with one of our students who are here. If you choose to, you can also, again, stay in the main room or return to the main room before the end of the session to ask us, again, a question that you want to clarify. So just so know that that will be available to you as well. I'm returning to Marina to continue addressing your questions.
We have several questions about how to choose the classes for the first quarter and who will help them. Should be a quick one, I guess.
That's me. I will be holding pre-register. Sorry, I interrupted again. I just knew it was me. So yes, I will be holding pre-registration advising sessions. I will also be sending out lots of written material. So all of that will happen once our cohort is finalized in early June, because your registration opens June 21st. So you will have all the tools you need and all the opportunities to meet with me before you start registering for your classes for that first quarter. And then for every quarter after that, I'm the academic advisor. So I'm the person that you would ask questions of about like how to plan your schedule and what classes you should take to make sure you're meeting the degree requirements.
We will also reignite our peer-to-peer matching opportunities. So not just in selecting your course, but when the quarter is beginning, you'll have peers as well as potentially alumni mentors will be able to help you navigate your journey. So you can also ask them their feedback, and we have channels where you can talk to current students as well, and you will have opportunity to meet them. It's one of the most important resources you'll have will always be each other. So people you're seeing here will still be around next year, so you're also going to have ample opportunity to talk to them about their first-hand experience of taking classes, in particular ones as well.
Then we have Matthew. Thank you for joining us despite the huge time difference. He would like to know how many other students will be in the MCCL track.
Yes, thank you very much for that question, Matthew, and welcome everyone to the MCCL track, which is our new track, actually. But we had a very high number of applicants for the new degree. We started admitting some students this year, and we are, Heather, do you have an exact number of admittees to the MCCL track?
Yes, I was just checking our list. We admitted 25 students from our priority round for the MCCL.
So it's about 25 people. And again, even though we have different tracks, a lot of things that you do coincide with one another. It's just a way of indicating your specialties. I also saw some questions around capstones. We already have a lot of established kind of project ideas. I am in just 1 minute going to share in the chat some projects that are developed in our foundational classes that can give you a sense of the types of creative thinking that our students do to solve key challenges in our world. Foundational classes, you develop kind of a first prototype. And what we're thinking for those who are going to be in the communication and leadership degree, but for all of you, right, to kind of flesh out your ideas throughout your journey in the program and in the breakout sessions. You can ask those who are joining with you what they're doing with their projects too. In just 1 minute, just to give you an idea of types of projects that have been done, I'll share with you a digital wall of kind of past year's projects. So you can also see that. I just wanted to address that too when that question came up.
Yeah, I'm just scrolling through the questions. Some of them are very specific, so it might be a good idea to just send an email after the session, because we won't be able to get through everything right now. There's also a question about being able to tour campus. So obviously you can always send an email. Someone is almost always on campus who can show you around. Then we have, how long does it take to process the offer letter to newly admitted students? Is another one I see.
Heather, I think it's a question around the offer letter processing.
Yeah, I was trying to find that because I'm a little confused. It's instant. Like once we admitted you, you got an email that second. So I'm not sure what is meant by offer letter. I was scanning through trying to find how that was worded. But yeah, when we offered admission, we clicked a button and you got an email, and that's your official offer. So if you do need a PDF on letterhead offer, I know some people require that for funding they're applying for. UW considers email official communication, so that is official from the university standpoint. But if you have another source that doesn't accept an email, you can contact me at the CommLead at uw.edu, and I can just take that and put it on letterhead if whatever source you're working with requires letterhead rather than an email.
Maybe we can do very quick answers to a number of questions, Marina, and that we can quickly answer, and then we'll break you out. Again, will be me, Gretchen, Jazz, and Heather will be in this main room, but all of you who are joining us will be divided with students, so you can continue asking these questions if your question was not answered, or return to us as well. So Marina, maybe just like a couple quick answer questions before we do that.
I see one about parking. There are multiple lots and your classes are in the evening, so there'll be plenty of parking. I think the closest one, or at least that's where I park, is the Pedalford parking garage, and you have a pay by phone opportunity to pay for it. So it's super easy, and it's just a couple of stairs and then you're at the comms building. Sample schedules. Are returning Huskies able to keep their existing net IDs is one that I've seen a couple times.
Yeah, so if you already have a net ID, that's yours for life. So you don't need to create a new one. You'll just use that to log in. So if you forgot your password, if you've been gone from UW for a while, you can go in and do the forgot password option. But yeah, your net ID will be the same.
And how early or how soon can students apply for on-campus jobs or be part of the partner program?
Heather, correct me if I'm wrong, but on-campus jobs as early as they start, is that correct?
Yeah, so your first quarter, and there's a little flexibility on that because a lot will start earlier in September, but basically September, since you're starting the program in autumn, is when you're eligible for any job that's a student job on campus.
And maybe one more that should be quick. Is it required to attend graduate preparation programs as an international student?
No, it's something we put on the Canvas page because it's very useful and we've had students do it in the past, but that's completely optional. It is one way to meet the English proficiency requirement. If you need to take classes, you can take care of that with graduate preparation program, but that is your choice whether you want to do that.
Maybe we can now turn you all into groups with our students. I know that you still have questions. Again, we will stay here in the main room, but so you can go into a discussion with with one of our students who are joining you today. I also realized that I've never introduced Liao Zhao, who you also heard from. She is the head of our outreach. Hi, Liao. Good to have you here too. Again, she's with us too. I'm sure you've heard from her as well.
Yeah, thanks, Inking. I had myself. Hi, everyone. I'm the head of outreach at Support CommLead Student Recruitment. So you probably have already known me at the previous info session. And if you have got any questions about our career services, upcoming events, as well as the alumni engagement, I'm happy to answer you. I see some of our students asking about career opportunities and job opportunities after completion of the program. I will send everyone the career outcome data after this open house, so you will get the information.